Hello everyone, my name is Koifish, and in this Crusader Kings 3 video, I will be trying to survive for 100 years of constant Viking invasions. I have cranked up the Viking invasion rate to 11 and reduced the speed it takes to convert areas to a certain culture. By doing this, I have created a Viking virus, a constant stream of Ragnarök raiders. Each year, every Viking belonging to a noble house, be it landed or unlanded, will try to launch a Viking invasion. It is safe to say that we'll soon have some Norse neighbors. Will we be able to survive this endless onslaught of onslaughts and björns? Or will the Norsemen force all of the northern realm to eat fermented herring and dance around the maypole? Only one way to find out.
No, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, stop!
And for this challenge, I will be playing as the steadfast Welshman. We're currently ruled by none other than Prince Rothrid II, a man of great strategy and a student of the Obi-Wan Kenobi school of high ground tactics. And Rothrid's first decree was to raise as many longbow retinues as possible, stating in an official Twitter post, "If you're on a hill, the Viking can't kill." Eggplant emoji, eggplant emoji. Historians are still debating what he meant by this. The first year in the Viking apocalypse went pretty great. So far, the Vikings have a pretty good holding here, and the Vikings were seemingly losing the Sons of Lothbrok invasion of Northumberland. But so, it started. Chieftain Harald Tanglehair had launched a Varangian adventure against Mercia, and Northumbria was also being co-invaded by Chieftain Gardar of East Iceland, quickly launching his troops from his longboat. It seemed we had been spared from the first round, but we weren't gonna be as lucky for the next one. Jorvik was the first of the English holdings to fall, taken over by the young son of Jarl Ivar the Boneless, who was murdered by Eila Oswulfsson right before he died. I guess he almost scored that hat trick, killing both the dad and the son. And as my brother-in-law was just relaxing in his keep, he mysteriously died. His holding of Ceredigion went to his sister, my wife. Rulers in the street, lovers in the sheets. Viking alert! Viking alert! Jarl Harald Tanglehair has breached Lincoln. If you thought you had bad neighbors, just wait until all the Norsemen start invading. But how could I forget? We have Jarl Hastin here as well, and he took over Katanes. I always knew you a weeb, huh? He loves his Katanes. But as if the invasion wasn't bad enough, Jarl Ivar of the Isle of Mun has captured me in my prison and killed my teacher. We were able to defeat his army and steal back the money it took, but I'm still in the prison, and I'm not paying 100 gold to ransom myself. That's it, I have to escape. But even though my nickname is great, I'm still very infirm. We're currently being starved. But alas, he lets me out if I promise to never take the Earldom of Mun. Absolutely, bro. I have enough problems as I already do. We're now 10 years into the game, and so far the Vikings have been very aggressive. But luckily, we've been spared from this aggression. Some notable things can be that Hastin rules the northern of Scotland. Jorvik is ruled by a man called Foulfart for questionable reasons. The Anglo-Saxons are weaker than ever, and random Norsemen can be found in all sorts of places. And there's absolutely no trace left of the man they once called Björn Ironside. Except he's totally alive and just moved over to Finland and left his Swedish throne behind. The Vikings are truly wilding. But because this man split off like this, that means that all of these Vikings will now be launching their own invasions. With wars like this on the horizon, we saw it fit to proclaim the Kingdom of Wales. Mostly, however, our King Rothrid was old and just wanted somewhere to sit nicely. With the situation being dire as it is, Rothrid called for a meeting. He explained the reasons why the Welsh must stand united, and although he wasn't sure that his fellow rulers were listening, they still signed the contract. And so Prince Hyvel and Lord Hyfjad became part of our glorious kingdom. But once more the Vikings had come. It was time to beat them away and show them that we are the boss of this goddamn island. We survived for 11 years out of 100. And as you can see, it started to get pretty messy. Roald Foulfart rules Viking Ulster. And Jarl Ironside is already tired of ruling over Porjanama. It is trying to take over Samogitia. And much as I expected, Chieftain Örver, one of the interlopers that took over in the power vacuum that Björn created, is currently trying to conquer Croatia. No holdings are safe, as the Vikings keep spreading out, and it's only a matter of time before Wales is next. We have to prepare. But a raven came in the night, delivering a mail. I couldn't understand it, so I caught the nearest Viking from the raid and forced him to read it. I was expecting the worst. Threat of an invasion? A declaration of someone claiming my title, perhaps? But luckily for me, that was not the case. Instead, it was none other than Jarl Ragnar, the new Jarl of Munster, inviting me to participate in a tournament. But during the feast, I noticed an opportunity. Jarl Ragnar was a very heavy drinker, and I had brought some rat poison that we used to help combat the plague in our homeland. Alas, he doesn't die from it, it just upsets his stomach. I run after him with a dagger and stab him in the back. But he bolts away, my dagger just gleaming off the side of his armor. He's wounded, and he knows it's me, which means that we gotta absolutely hightail it out of here before this Norse Viking ends up slaying us first. But so, war had come to us. We were defending the Scotsmen against the vile, boneless warrior of the Vikings. This was a perfect chance to try out our new troops. Leading from the front, we fought against any first Viking we could find, slashing, maiming, and firing away at any target we could see. But a courier quickly sent a note, and it would seem that we are slightly outmatched in this battle. But as I was traveling to get to the siege, a woman runs up to me. Arndr offers me a potion. I say I wanna drink it. He pulls it back. You cannot handle my strongest potion. I chug it and promptly start dying. We do have reached his capital, which is very good. Perhaps I can raid the raiders and steal from those that usually steal from us. And so we did. Thorbrand Sigurdsson was easily captured and moved to our dungeon. We convinced this little club-footed freak that the right way is the Christian way. Perhaps this would be the great glorious start of a christening of these Norsemen, the pagan ways being removed. And so we let him out and he became Catholic. Now all we had to do was to kill his father, thus bringing it back to Christian control once more. But life had other plans for us, that being death. Anaravd takes over the throne, except King Anaravd wasn't meant long for this world, as he was gored to death by a boar. Here he was worrying his whole life about two-legged Vikings, when it was the four-legged boar that sent him to hell. We're now ruling as King Hrothgar II, his son, and we hadn't ruled for more than a few days when my uncle, Prince Radel III, claimed my lands. So as the Vikings grew around us, the Welsh were still fighting amongst themselves, growing ever weaker. The rebellion was swiftly put down, and our uncle was punished by having his land taken away by a literal 14-year-old. And having arrested his two uncles, the 14-year-old king swiftly took their titles and proclaimed himself as the true ruler of the Welsh. And to add insult to injury, we forced them both to become monks. Truly, a position more befitting of you, my dearest uncle. You will pray to the end of your days. Be happy that I did not kill you. But on my 15th birthday, the king of Mercia came to me asking for an alliance. A worthy person to help us. Perhaps exactly what we needed in these dark times against the Vikings. I accepted. And so we are sent to the throne as a full-grown adult. With a glorious education in martial, we would surely be the next defender of Wales. As it wasn't a matter of if, but when the Vikings would come. Already holding holdings in Nordic Prussia and Viking Ulster. The truth of it was that most of Ireland was actually ruled by Norsemen. And not did a day pass since we signed the alliance, when Jarl Dagson, a young boy of the same age as me, launches a war to take over Northamptonshire. Of course we join. Our Welsh longbowman charges in, led by none other than my Andalusian Arabic stepfather. I genuinely have no idea how these two got married, but with that said, he'll make for a great sword brother and a commander against these Vikings. You can't look a gift horse in the mouth, and neither can you an Arabic stepfather. So it's Sarb leading the way. We went in for the bastardly Vikings, fought bravely and promptly lost our army. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't trust random strangers to lead our armies. And if that wasn't bad enough, as we were out fighting, Vikings attacked us, and more Vikings joined the fray. With us realizing how weak our armies were, we decided to go for an alliance with none other than the gosh darn King Charles the Bald, who also happens to have killed my uncle. But he was probably one of the bad uncles, so we'll ally him. But if this wasn't bad enough, I'm now known as the Silly. But alas, we still lost to the goddamn 17-year-old. And Essex is now ruled by a goddamn Viking twink. Not optimal at all. I swear to God, these settings are absolutely insane. As you can see, Mr. Hastings, 8 years old, has just taken all of West Francia. That's troubling. That's very troubling. I feel like we have been spared in Wales by the grace of God and nothing else. Viking Jorvik, funnily enough, ruled by an Anglo-Saxon, and then normal Jorvik, ruled by a Norseman. Most, if not all of Ireland, is ruled by Hiberno-Norse, which is a hybrid culture of Norse and Irish, or just straight up Norsemen. As Ragnar the Righteous, Ingolfur the Humble, and my personal favorite, Holmger Steinsson, rules the island, including Viking Ulster. And what a worthy reaction! The Pope calls out for a glorious crusade. I just think it might be a bit too late for that, considering Hastings rules France. We'll see, we'll see. Either way, King Rothry the Silly Goober rules his land with an iron fist. And bankrolled by the Pope and his endless coffers of gold, we've been able to slowly but surely build up the economy in this area. The more gold we have, the more troops we can field. The more troops we can field, the better our chances against the Vikings. But it seems that the Pope sort of forgot the memo and just shouted out the first thing that came to mind. Deus vult! We must take Jerusalem! But Pope, Martinus, what about the lands of the Frankians? Wait, hold up, is that my son? Hold up. Baba! Oh, vad händer här? Oj! My son is very cool, and he's starting to talk now, which is very funny. He loves to go into my office and sort of check in on me as I'm working. The best boss I've ever had. Alright, where were we? The Pope called for the crusade against Jerusalem, when actually we have to stop the Vikings. So I'm going to spend some piety and redirect this war. So we'll strike where it hurts the most. We're gonna make Sweden Christian. Rane Hrafsnon! Huh? You Viking scum! We might not be as strong as we used to, but we're coming for you. The Northmen can't think of themselves as unbeatable, lest they become bold and conquer all of Ireland. You know, it really says something about France when Hastings could survive 8 years in Scotland, but only 1 in France. Alas, he's dead and his realm is split, which is horrifically bad for us because now there's even more Vikings running about. Truly a horrifying moment. Well, here goes nothing. Odin, dina dagar är räknade. Odin, just like the calendar, your days are numbered. Rane must fall, as we are in a full-out, all-out war against the Vikings. We have more troops than they do, they have more Vikings. I think we're gonna be perfectly fine. We raised the lads in the name of the Crusade. We gloriously sieged down 2 holdings. 2 holdings that were currently being played by Jordan's flu. It seems the Vikings were coughing on us to weaponize their filthy behavior. My stepdad is dying. Not good. I'm sorry, stepfather, I don't know how sick you are because you only speak Arabic and I only speak Welsh. I hope that my doctor can treat you, but to be honest, I've always loved you like a true father. Oh, I probably shouldn't be standing this close. Let me just... So we decided to quickly get out of here and move for the capital of Sweden, where we're actually going to fight. But they weren't gonna let us take their holdings easily. So we joined in the siege for Öland, and off we went to defeat the glorious invaders. A truly horrific battle in Möre, where we were wet as we went over the strait to get to them. They sent their best fighter, a syphilis-poxed flagellant. We sent our best crusader, a peg-legged, excommunicated crusader. Truly, we were in good hands. But behind every blueberry bush, we found another Viking, and our forces were quickly decimated, sending us scrambling out into the sea. Truly, it was all over. We instead opted to land on Gotland, a sneaky siege. If they wanted to defeat us, they would have to come to us. Back to Öland we went, and this time we were gonna fight hard. But with the goddamn massive army of Bergslagen coming to absolutely mug us, it seemed that even though we were bound for victory, it was straight to hell we went. And with my forces stuck in the tribe of Oslo, absolutely enjoying their great time with the cheese slicers, I was told the crusade had failed and all I was left with was a huge debt and a shameful feeling that we could have done better. We were now 36 years into the challenge. King Rothri, now 33, got word that the Vikings, they weren't stopping. Here's some updates for the year of our Lord 903. King Charles of Aquitaine, a drunkard, irritable 17-year-old, is being attacked by none other than the people of Aalborg. A very hideous child. She has amassed a massive army and is vying to attack all of Aquitaine. But alas, as I was out sparring with my son in the garden, my court priest came out of the ground with dire news.
My lord, it's the Vikings! They've finally come for us! Thousands of them, thousands!
So down to the armory we rushed, grabbing whatever sword and longbow we could find, and off went the ravens. We needed to be defended. We would call in every ally, big or small, to come defend us. As the Westlanders of Gulathingslög had launched a Varangian adventure to conquer all of the northern Wales. With Jarl Torbjörn Ivarsson, son of Jarl Ivar the Boneless, who he himself were aiming to move his entire court to the south of Wales. Truly, we will be doomed here. Oh my lord, are you holding the same spear? That is so cute. Oh, he's brandishing a weapon. Oh. Safe to say, we will have to defend our lives for this one, as if we fail, we only have 2 holdings left. Terrifying, horrific. And there they came upon us, the Vikings. Fearsome, horrific creatures from the very depths of hell. We would surge in and try to catch them as they disembarked. We weren't gonna let them slip, not for every gold piece in the world. And so, the Battle of CK3 was on its way. With my cousin and brother-in-law and Stuart, holy moly, you have too many titles. Our glorious longbowmen were horrifically countered, but still dealt a lot of damage. They outnumbered us, but with wet boots and mostly used levies. What can you do when the longbowmen shoot at you?
Get out of here, you Vikings! Ah!
How much of the world is Vikings? This says Irish, but they're secretly Iberian Norse.
Just look at these names. Stake, Ivaring, Hede, Jute.
Haystening! I'm telling you, these people are of Munsö.
Defeat them all. Send them to hell.
For Wales.
For the Welsh Empire.
And I cannot believe it, but with skill and the help of quite a lot of allies, we have managed to drive away the Vikings. Wales remains safe. Wales is safe. Huzzah! But to defend against the Vikings was not enough. I was going on the offensive. It was time for us to start taking land. Cheshire was first. We raised our glorious armies, and in a bold surprise move, we went straight for his capital. But once more, we called for a crusade. Of course we'll join, and this time we're taking back England. The Viking had been captured, and Cheshire has been taken. The second crusade was launched, and this time we would take back England. We quickly raised our troops and slammed ourselves into our enemies. The more we could pick off, the better. I personally took command of one of the armies, but alas, our troops got splintered, and most of those that pledged to join us had not arrived just yet. Sure, we could run down and help them, but they were pretty much dead already. So we cut our losses and simply escaped out from the backwoods, taking out a few more of the enemies as we went. But with reinforcements coming from the great continent, we could only pray that they would go in an orderly manner and not get killed one by one, as they tend to be in this glorious game. For 12,000 Vikings they had managed to get to their defense, but I had something even more important: money. And so the Cumbrians were called in to fight alongside us. My men would march to the south, where most of the invaders came in by boat. My thinking was this: if they spend this much time roaming in a massive army, they will slowly be undersupplied, and within a few days, none of them will have any food to eat. We went in. We managed to cut a small contingent, destroyed them, and there the battle was on. The Pope's forces had secretly been hiding in the bushes of Buckingham, as we all crashed upon them in Newport. Let's just say that they got properly smoked. With the heathen army once defeated, it was easy to catch the stragglers. And with land after land falling to us, it was only a matter of time. But war waits for no man, and we would go in to fight them head on. Of course, the Crusaders had another idea, which was to let me just die in my own foolish battle. So we promptly returned to get some more supplies. And with the great hidden army having amassed 20,000 troops, all we could pray for was that their strategy of clinging together would lose to our strategy of somewhat spreading out. But as we were promptly caught in a battle, we would just pray that reinforcement would make it here, and not just conga line in one by one and slowly die, which is exactly what they did. This of course turned the tide of the Crusade once more, and set our war score back by a whole lot. But not even amongst themselves the Crusaders could stop their infighting. Truly a well-organized force. But slow maneuvering came to be our downfall, and we were completely stack-wiped, including killing my jester. We quickly raised our troops, however, the few we could muster up, to bravely charge in, only to die again. Man, I'm telling you, this whole Crusader things against the Viking is usually super easy. But considering that, like, all of the realm is Norse, it's borderline impossible. These guys are ridiculously strong. But we did manage to catch one of their armies, so I guess we can do a bit of divide and conquer. Except the only ones getting divided is our sheiks, as the Vikings run in and clap us. Not good at all. But was this? It's the possible turnaround? No, but we're losing men faster than they are. It's gonna come down to the last man. No! They won with 16 men! One Varangian veteran and a few champions! What the heck? These Vikings, man, I'm telling you, they must be huffing some mushrooms or something. That's it. Get my chainmail. I can't believe it. We've lost the Crusade. This is so bad. And why is this called Polotsk now? Oh, because of course he went adventuring here. It's not even a Norseman, it's a Russian! But the stress of being surrounded by Bork IKEA Vikings and the fact that he's 75 was too much for King Rothri, who keeled over, and now King Riwal, his son, rules. All in all though, we're doing pretty great. This guy is a proper Crusader. Even though our Crusades didn't really work, he's an awesome fighter, letting us have at any Viking that comes close to us. And we only have to survive for 22 years. What? I was murdered? As I was enjoying a dinner and I drink a cup of mead? Why would I drink mead? That's Viking drink! The Vikings poisoned me! Well, I now rule as my son, King Rothri III. But I just noticed something terrifying. The Vikings have formed the High Kingdom of Britannia. That's right, King Ivar, grandson of Jarl Ivar the Boneless. He has conquered all of Britannia. I don't know if he did it diplomatically or not, but what in the goddamn? This is so bad. Just 20 more years. If we can survive 20 more years, surrounded by a gosh darn son of Lothbrok, High King of Britannia, while all of the rest of the world is completely Norse, or I don't know what to do. I don't know. This has to be even Lapland is Norse. Asturias, the Okitonon, Jarl Gausbert, they're replacing us. No, the French, dude, I need catharsis, not catharism. Holy moly, help! Wait, all of Britannia is ruled by a high king. Vikings are notorious for not being cohesive and, well, civilized. I have an idea. First, I give him gold. Vikings are easily impressed with shiny coins. We join the Great Britannians under religious protection, and from the inside, we plot to claim the throne. And to make it even more powerful, I'll modify my contract for guaranteed council rights, and I make myself the spy master. I want to blackmail as many vassals as possible and gain strong hooks. And so it came to be that Rothri III did what none of the other Rothris could ever do. He secured a claim on the goddamn High Kingdom, because we were gonna stop the Vikings once and for all. And so a claimant faction for the goddamn Empire of Britannia was created. And with High King Ivar busy fighting in the northern Sweden, we saw an opportunity and we took it. We swiftly pressed our demands, and civil war it was. And so the last holdout of the non-Norse on the British Isles, the glorious Welsh, faced off to reclaim the lands back from the Northern Scourge. With the help of the Knights Templar and our glorious strong alliances, as well as our massive army, we were going to defeat the Viking.
To arms, brethren!
Even my uncle wants to join. He, for some reason, rules Orléans. With our troops landed, we quickly laid siege to the holding. We sieged, we fought, we captured their capital, and a random Ruthenian king. That Battle of Strathern, a full-on collision of all our forces, where the Crusade had failed, we would succeed. Repeatedly, over and over again, we smashed down their armies. We were gonna take this kingdom, whether it cost us all our money, all our men, and all the time in the world. And so, we were victorious. We claim Britannia, Emperor Rothry! With only 7 years to spare, we rule the Vikings! Long live the Emperor! We have successfully managed to sway the Norse pagan invaders! And they convert! They all convert! I have christened them! I have christened the Viking menace! We quickly spread our legend how we conquested it. And so it came to be that Rothry III reclaimed Britannia from the Norse invaders, not being a slave to fear of the Northmen, but rather a ruler of his demons, a king of hell, a true mastermind of his own destiny. And with exactly 1 day away from my goal of 100 years survived in a Viking apocalypse, we complete the legend of the conquest of Britannia. And there you have it, 100 years having survived the Viking Ragnarök apocalypse. Did we survive? Yes. We're currently the Emperor of Britannia. That's very cool. Any factions that are dangerous? Absolutely not. We managed to convince all of the Vikings to turn Catholic. Very cool. But Koifish, what's the damage to the world? Well, let me show you. The Norse rule all of Scandinavia, including large parts of the Sami lands. The Vikings once ruled this part of Europe, but has quickly lost the lands. The same goes with the French holdings over here. Slowly but surely the Frenchmen conquered back. Except for Neustria, who never quite became Normandy. And for some reason, the Spanish kingdom of Asturias, ruled by a blind Norseman. England, however, took the brunt of the damage, with the Norse creating the Hiberno-Norse, the Norse Gael, and the Anglo-Nordic cultures. But it's safe to say that this is an absolutely amazing experience, and a great challenge to see if you can survive. But that's where I'm gonna end this video. Hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, stay Viking, my dudes. Yeet!